Running the wrong funnel is the single biggest reason most info offers can't scale from 5 figures per month to 6 figures per month. So after building 87 different funnels, I'm going to rank every single funnel you could possibly run in 2026 from S tier all the way down to F tier, nothing held back. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, I just want to quickly explain the criteria that I'm ranking every funnel based on so I don't get attacked in the comments. The first thing is just scalability, then sales cycle time, then conversion power, then cost to run, and then predictability. Conversion power and scalability mattering most. We're also not going to be ranking based on operator skill fit. Some of the funnels might work great if you know how to run them, but we're not ranking your skills, we're ranking the funnels. First up, we've got the VSL funnel. This is the go-to funnel for a huge portion of the info and coaching world. The funnel is very simple. You essentially just push traffic from, first of all, your organic audience, which would be like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and then you can run ads to the VSL page where the VSL obviously sits. They go through the VSL, they apply, and then book a call, then they get triaged by a setter, and then the closer takes the call and hopefully collects payments. But here's why VSL is one of the stronger funnels you can run in 2026. A good VSL does all the selling before anyone has to get on the call. It builds trust, it handles objections, and it qualifies the prospect through a 15-minute long video. Someone who sits through a 15-minute long video sales letter has essentially raised their hand and said, I'm a good fit, I've gone through the filtering process, and I'm ready to buy. So your setter never has to dial a cold lead. Every call is pretty much warm and mostly sold on the offer. It's one of the most run funnels among offers actually hitting 6 figures a month. But the downside is a VSL is only around 15 minutes long, so you have much less face time to build trust and likability with the prospect. And it is obviously recorded, so because of that, it's a lot more impersonal. This requires you to have a very dialed sales team, and that's pretty much what this entire funnel relies on. But that's just a trade for it running evergreen and not requiring as much operational complexity as the webinar funnel, for example. VSL funnels are still very scalable. It runs on autopilot, but the sales team has to be truly capable in order to actually scale a VSL call funnel. It's fast, it's on demand, it's predictable, it's as predictable as funnels really get, and it has a very short sales cycle. So with all of that in mind, the VSL earns its spot in A tier. Next up, we've got the free community funnel. The funnel is very simple. You simply just push traffic. This is usually organic, but in some psychotic cases like Charlie Morgan, you run ads as well, pushing to the free community. The community nurtures them, it builds trust through the course content, the posts, maybe the group coaching calls, and this whole time they're in the DMs with the setters. The setters are constantly trying to get them to ascend to the higher ticket offer. Eventually, a setter will propose a call for the higher ticket offer, then the closer takes it, and again, hopefully they collect payments. I'll be fair here and say it does work. People like Charlie Morgan have built 8-figure businesses on top of a free community funnel, and the leads are dirt cheap. But here's the problem. A free community isn't exactly a funnel. It isn't monetizable in and of itself. To make money off of a free community, you have to attach a whole nother funnel onto the side of it. For example, Charlie Morgan made a video, and I watched it a few months ago, and it's about 16 ways to monetize a free community. And I mean, to be honest with you, if you need 16 ways just to get paid from a funnel, it's not really a funnel, is it? So people join usually for the free stuff because they get everything free. They don't actually get results because there was no buy-in. And of course, someone that wants something free probably isn't likely to ascend to a higher ticket offer. So most never buy. The ones who do buy take months, so you have an incredibly long sales cycle. If you're at 5 figures per month, trying to scale to 6 figures per month, I'd probably steer pretty far clear of this funnel. Not necessarily because it's just bad by itself, but because it has an incredibly long sales cycle. So you kind of have to be in it for the long game. Is it a complete waste of time though? No, I wouldn't say it's a complete waste of time. They can work great. For example, it worked amazingly for Charlie Morgan, but for the average offer, there are so many better alternatives, which is why I just don't really get who this funnel is for. So because of that, it lands its spot in the E tier. Now, certainly one of the more popular funnels in 2026 is going to be the challenge funnel. This one can genuinely print cash. So you push organic and paid traffic to a registration page with a VIP ticket as the order bump. The order bump or the VIP ticket is usually priced around $27, and that tends to be the sweet spot for most offers, but this is done for 2 reasons. The first is to recover or to liquidate as much of the ad cost on the front end as possible, usually between 20 to 50%, so you make as much money on the back end with the high ticket offer as you possibly can. The second is for pixel optimization. Then the challenge event actually begins. It's usually around 3 days total, sometimes 5 days, and on day 2 is when the offer owner begins the pitch. Then then a call to action to book a call, the set of triages, the closer takes the call and hopefully closes. But you can also run a paid challenge, which can also absolutely rip, with each ticket priced at around $27 to $97. So Jeremy Haynes actually posted a YouTube video recently breaking down a challenge funnel that he ran for one of his clients. They spent $292,000 on ads. They had $3.4 million in back-end sales at a 10K price point at a 6.3% conversion rate. But if you can't already tell, this is absolutely insane. I mean, those are crazy statistics, but it does make perfect sense. Someone who sits through 3 days of your challenge has bought in before the pitch even drops. The offer is essentially now made to warm traffic because they spend so much time with you. But here's the thing, a challenge funnel isn't exactly a funnel. It's more like a campaign because it's not something that you build once and it just runs forever evergreen. It requires insane operational complexity, weeks of nurture content, a multi-day live event with production, speakers, sales team coordination, hammer them and book a call, retargeting ads on top of the acquisition spend. For example, Jeremy Haynes spent an extra $27,000 on retargeting ads alone. And you're generally just not going to be profitable on the front end alone. The expectation going into the challenge funnel is to lose money upfront on the front end offer and to make it all back on the back end. That's just not something you can always run. And on top of that, the reason challenges like Imans and Brez's happen so seldom is because it needs to be this big, massive launch. If you try and run a challenge funnel weekly, it will fatigue so quickly. Now, a challenge funnel can 100% work at 5 to 6 figures, but it's a quarterly play. It should not be your primary funnel. As your primary funnel, you want to run either a VSL or a webinar as you're always on, and then layer the challenge funnel on top of it. In all honesty, at 5 to 6 figures per month, I probably would choose a webinar over a challenge every time. The only reason I can't place the challenge funnel all that high is because you can't run them all the time, so it can't be your primary funnel. You need to have a dialed sales team and just the operational complexity that goes into the challenge funnel. So because of that, we're going to place the challenge funnel in B. If you're an offer owner trying to figure out which funnel to run, but you can't quite decide which funnel would actually work best for your offer, that's exactly what I do. I run an agency that handles absolutely everything, so all you have to focus on is your zone of genius, which is creating content and making sure that your clients get excellent results. We handle everything from your paid traffic to your organic content, to your sales team, to your marketing, to your funnel development, absolutely everything. 87 funnels and counting. If you'd like to learn a bit more about it, go ahead and book a call below. Speak soon. Back to the video. Up next, we have the good old webinar funnel. Jeremy Haynes has been pushing these very hard lately, but for good reason. They are absolutely crushing. The funnel's very simple. You essentially just run paid traffic and push your organic audience to a registration page. They register for the webinar, they show up to the webinar, they apply once they've been pitched, then they book a call, a set of triage them, and then the closer takes a call and hopefully closes them. But here's why the webinar is one of the strongest funnels you can run in 2026. First of all, it gives you 90 full minutes to indoctrinate someone into your way of thinking. It builds real trust and likability before you ever make a pitch, and it's one-to-many. It's not like you're selling just to one person. You're selling to an entire room, so it's incredibly scalable. The sales cycle isn't bad either. About 5 days of nurturing once the webinar's truly dialed, and yeah, you've got to build up the slides and actually present it, but it's worth it. And ignore anyone who tells you that you can't crack $1 million a month with a webinar funnel. Firstly, it can. Plenty of offers have cracked $1 million a month with a webinar funnel, but more to the point, a webinar is one of the easiest funnels there is for cracking 6 figures a month, and that's the game we're playing. We're trying to crack 6 figures per month. So because of this, the webinar goes into S tier. Extremely effective. So next up, we've got the good old quiz funnel. This is probably one of the oddest funnels you could possibly run. It's essentially like a personality test style quiz. You answer 15 to 25 questions and then get a personalized result. This is a bit of a controversial one for me. It works for some offers, but it probably won't work for yours. You basically just run ads to the quiz, and in some cases push your organic audience there too. They answer the 15 to 25 questions, they land on a personalized results page that pitches the offer, then they book call, the set of triages, and the closer closes. The same old, same old. To be honest, quiz funnels have and will print for the right offers. They tend to do very well for direct-to-cart e-com brands, and I've seen guys like Ryan Clark rip them for fitness coaching offers. But here's the thing, the quiz is basically just a lead capture layer in front of the same setter closer cycle, and on top of that, it captures leads, not buyers. Another thing that e-com guys rave on about is the customer research data that it collects. They literally say that the funnel's goal isn't profit, it's just the data that it collects. On a side tangent, I thought this was pretty funny. I was watching a Ryan Clark podcast, and there was a guy there. It was like a round table. They were all chatting. It was like one of those unfiltered mic or no mic podcasts, but there was a guy there and he was running a fitness coaching offer, and he said they were running a quiz funnel for the offer, but they made sure that the quiz never gave the prospect a score higher than 65, so no matter what, they always needed coaching. I thought that was hilarious. So to sum everything up, quiz funnels work when you've got clear pain points and the volume to push through all the math, but the average info offer ticks neither of these, and on top of that, the build is pretty fucking hard too. So because of that, I just can't recommend it for the average offer. It's gonna have to go in E tier. Next up, we've got the DM funnel. This is what I would call the lean play. It's basically just you, your setters and your DMs, and your audience. Nothing fancy. And there's also a really cool feature to the DM funnel. The funnel runs primarily through organic traffic. People sometimes run profile ads when running the DM funnel, but they're not exactly pushing to the offer. The ads aren't pushing to the offer, so I'm not going to include them for now. So primarily running through organic traffic, there are two entry points. The first is inbound, where your DM call to action gets the prospect to message you, and then outbound, when the setter DMs new and existing followers directly. Either way, it's a manual DM conversation. The setter qualifies, warms them up, and then pushes them to the call, which the closer takes. But here's what's genuinely unique to the DM funnel, and that's the outbound. With a VSL or webinar or pretty much every other funnel, the prospect has to come to you, but most followers never will. With the DM outbound, your setter brings the funnel to them. No other funnel can replicate that. But here's the thing, the funnel is purely manual labor. DM setting tools like Mochi just aren't there yet. Every conversation, every voice note, every follow-up is a human. 100 calls a month means you need 2 setters in your DMs. If you want to book 200 calls a month, you need 4 setters in your DMs, which means scaling this funnel is completely linear. And on top of that, the whole thing depends on you having 30k plus followers and gaining at least 50 followers per day. Oh, and you also can't stop posting at any time, because that is the only acquisition engine for these leads to come into the pipeline. Here's what I think. A DM funnel definitely works at 5 to 6 figures if you've got the audience and the content engine behind you. The outbound aspect of the DM funnel is great. You give every follower the chance to buy, and the cash flow is very clean too, because there's no direct ad spend, but it's very labor intensive with a hard scaling ceiling. If you want 10 extra calls, it means you need 10 extra setters in your DMs. So because of that, unfortunately, I can't give it much higher of a rating than D tier. The next funnel we've got is the low ticket community funnel, or the low ticket ascension funnel. These are things like paid school groups, Discord communities, WAPs, etc. Usually between the price point of $15 and $197. The funnel runs mostly through organic content from YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and you can run ads to low ticket community. A lot of people do, but by nature, low ticket community funnels have extremely long sales cycles, so ROAS is incredibly hard to track and cash flow becomes a constraint. Anyways, inside the community, they go through the course content and the group coaching. Your setters begin working them in the DMs the whole time. That's basically the entire setter triage. They speak to them in the DMs from the moment they join the school community or the WAP community or the Discord community. Once they're warm, the setter then pushes them to book a call, and then the closer finally gets across the finish line. To be honest with you, low ticket community funnels work very well. Unlike the free community funnel, a paid community filters out all the little free value hunters that want everything for free and would never ascend to high ticket. But people who are happy to pay $50 a month are 10 times more likely to ascend to the higher ticket offer compared to someone who paid absolutely nothing. And it generates monthly recurring revenue from day one, and that funds the entire back-end operation. It's also very similar to a self-liquidating offer if running mainly through paid traffic. But here's the thing, the community is just the buyer acquisition and nurture layer in front of the back-end offer. And the build of a low ticket offer is very taxing in terms of the course content, the group calls, the setting team, and the high ticket sales team for the back-end offer. But you're essentially just running 2 products or 2 offers at once now, and it's very slow, very fucking slow, painstakingly slow, because 99% of members are never going to ascend in the first week. The setter has to warm them through weeks of DMs before they're ever ready, and the timeline just won't get you to 6 figures very fast. The low ticket community funnel can actually work really well at 5 to 6 figures per month if you've already got the content engine behind you, and I actually really like the low ticket community funnel. But in 2026, would it be my first pick? Probably not. There's so many better funnels to run. But that being said, I still think it can work very well. but unfortunately it's not going to get much higher than C tier, so it's going into the mid tier. Next up, we've got the self-liquidating offer, or the self-liquidating funnel. It's the same thing anyways, but people like to change names. This is one of the more interesting funnels though. Daniel Fazio absolutely raves about it. The math is gorgeous, and when it's dialed, it can actually print. The funnel is simply just paid ads to a low ticket sales page. People then buy the low ticket product between $27 and $97. This is where you attempt to liquidate most of the ad spend, or hopefully all of the ad spend. Then they get redirected to a thank you page, which hits them with an upsell VSL for the high ticket offer. Setters dial the buyers of the low ticket fast and attempt to upsell them into the high ticket offer. And then of course, the closer takes the call and tries to get it across the finish line. In all fairness, the math is absolutely amazing, and I can understand why Daniel Fazio thinks it's so gorgeous, because you break even on CAC at the point of the low ticket sale on the front end, so scaling becomes really easy after that. And you're acquiring buyers, not leads, so the pixel tracking and optimization is very easy. But here's the problem: the close still happens on the same setter into closer call like a VSL call funnel or a webinar funnel. The self-liquidating offer's distinctive piece is the buyer acquisition layer in front of it. So you build this insane machine with a low ticket offer, a sales page, order bumps, upsell VSL, all these different automations, and you have to have a dialed in sales team just to make the front more efficient. But this only really prints when you have multiple back-end offers stacked at the back of it. And on top of that, at 5 figures per month, you probably don't have multiple back-end offers. So you just have one offer that you're trying to scale. Therefore, it probably wouldn't work very well for your offer. Self-liquidating offers work very well when you've got a great back-end offer and the budget to test with ads. At the bare minimum, if you want to run a self-liquidating offer, not financial advice, but you need to be spending at least $200 per day to actually recognize patterns and make your ads effective, because otherwise they're going to be completely ineffective. At 5 figures per month, you are so much better off running a VSL funnel or a webinar funnel, because it requires a tenth of the infrastructure that a self-liquidating offer requires. In all fairness, the math is beautiful, and I do think that the right offer will print with this, but the build cost and ad spend is just a little too heavy, especially when there's simpler alternatives out there that don't require as much spend and as complicated of a build process. So for that reason, it's going to make its way into the C tier. Last one here, guys. If you've stayed to the end of this video and you've made it here, drop a 1 in the comments. I want to see who's made it to the end. But this one's pretty fucking cool. It should not be your primary funnel. I want to preface this by saying it's a cool supplementary funnel that feeds into your original or your primary conversion mechanism, but it should not be your primary funnel. So just remember that while I go through this. For those who don't know, a Jubilee VSL is a video styled like Jubilee's debate format, like middle ground, surrounded, that kind of thing. Offer owners will sit across from a group of disagreeers and they'll go back and forth on a topic. Like, for example, Brez and Samir have done this excellently, and Brez's one was like 9-to-5ers versus one entrepreneur, something of that sort that really sells them on his business model. But the key here is it's not really a debate. In fact, it's very staged, but it's really just a VSL in disguise. Kind of like when Iman Gachi hosted that VSL on YouTube in 2022. The questions are also planted. They're designed to surface objections that can be handled on camera, and it allows the offer owner to position themselves in a way that gives them authority. The traffic comes solely from YouTube organic and repost on the offer owner's other socials, and then in the description of the video, there's usually a call to action to the actual conversion mechanism. For example, Brez has the Jubilee VSL, which points to his challenge funnel, and it's usually a VSL or a webinar or a challenge funnel. And then from there, it's standard, just an application, book a call, set a triage, and closer takes the call and hopefully closes the deal. But here's why it's so interesting to me though. The Jubilee format is one of the most addictive on YouTube. People love to watch arguments, they love to watch debates, they love to watch conflict arise, and most Jubilee videos get millions of views every single time. So when you wrap a VSL inside it, you're getting reach that you would never otherwise touch with a normal VSL call funnel. But production complexity is extreme. You need participants, you need a set, you need professional production, you need scripting. This is just something that unfortunately is unattainable for the average offer owner, and the close still happens downstream in your primary funnel. So your conversion rate is still capped by whatever funnel you're running below it. As a supplementary lead flow mechanism, it is A tier. When it works, it dumps massive top of funnel reach into your primary funnel, but it should go without saying that this should not be your primary funnel. In fact, you probably should never run this funnel unless you get some millions of followers plus. Only a few people have done this, and that's because they are some of the biggest faces in info. But despite that, this is one of the most exciting plays in info right now, so because of that, it's going to make its way over into the A tier. As you can probably tell, guys, picking the right funnel is the difference between scaling to 6 figures per month and staying stuck at 5 figures per month. So if you have an offer, if you have a coaching business and you don't know how to scale, you don't know which funnel to pick, that's exactly what I do. I run an agency that scales info offers and coaching businesses. That's my bread and butter. That's what I do every single day. So if you guys would like to book a call and you'd like to have a chat about your offer and a potential partnership, then book a call below. Let's have a chat about it. Otherwise, please subscribe, check out the Instagram, link in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.